Pro boxing fans, it is fight week. Johnny Nelson again going double denim.
Hey, you Southerners don't know about double denim. You know what I mean? You gotta drop something different.
Johnny, listen, let's talk about this week, man. It's already started. It started yesterday with the grand arrivals. You got to see both fighters. What do you make of the demeanour and the little time that you got to see them this week?
I think these two have spent so much time burning energy on each other. I think they've got to the point where you think, you know what, I'm just going to show you when we get in the ring. If I'm honest with you, I thought Conor looked small yesterday, but I also looked at Chris and I thought Chris had a big coat on. I thought I just want to see what these guys look like on the scales. And even though Chris will make the weight on Friday, don't be surprised if he pays a fine for not making the 10 pound weight the Saturday morning afterwards.
Interesting. Yeah, I do want to actually talk to you a bit more about that. For that situation to occur where Chris Eubank Jr doesn't make the check weight, nothing can happen in this day in regards to the fight can't be pulled off, right? So it is win-win for him, right? Apart from losing the money.
Listen, everything he's done, he knows this fight's not going to get pulled. So don't be surprised Saturday morning, because I say, here, take the fine money. Here, I'm getting paid a lot of money, take it. And so, because there's no way on earth he's going to put himself in a position where he's going to give the advantage to Conor. Because if he loses to Conor, as far as he's concerned, he's done. It won't happen. So trust me, if he's struggling, the next morning I'm like, I'll pay the fine. Because nobody's going to do anything. Look at everything he's done so far. Smashed egg in his head. You know, you got a fine. Like, I'll pay the fine. I'll pay 50 grand out to all the undercard fighters that you know, spread it between it. Yeah, I'll pay. I'm getting paid more money than I expected. So therefore I can afford to pay the fine. I do not believe that he will put himself in a position where he is killing himself Saturday morning of the fight. I don't believe it.
That is interesting, actually. For Conor Benn, though, coming into this fight, Sonny Ed was on the Ring magazine and he said, look, nobody's talking about the height difference as well. You know, Chris Eubank Jr is a lot taller than him. I'm not sure how much more taller he is, to be fair.
Yeah, but you got to look at the style of fights. I remember when Mike Tyson was boxing Evander Holyfield, and I thought Holyfield to do Mike because the direction of his shots, the Irish Chris shots, are bringing him up. How Conor fights, Conor dips down and dip down for an easy, it'll be down, and Chris is whipping those shots up. So it's the style of the fights, the styles make fights. And so if Chris tries to box him long, Conor will try and slip in, roll and put him under pressure. If he boxes tight, I actually think it'd suit Chris more if he lets him get in close, because the direction of his shots are exactly the same direction of what Conor dips into.
It is interesting. For you then, for Conor to win this fight, is it going to have to be just aggression from the start to see if Chris Eubank Jr. is aged as much as everyone says he has?
Chris will be dangerous, more dangerous the first half of the fight. Conor has to create a pace that suits him. Now Conor will be naturally faster. I don't know how he'll go for strength, but he'll be naturally faster. He's got to create a consistent pace to put Chris under. Because the direction of what he's coming at, he's got to get Chris on the back foot. He don't want Chris backing him up, because I think Conor's a better fighter offensively than defensively. If Chris backs him up, if he starts doing that from round one, this fight won't last long. If Chris backs him up, Conor's got to put it on him. You know, put box on the front foot, put him under pressure.
For Eubank then, if he does anticipate Conor's going to come on with all this aggression, does he just have to maybe see out the first couple of rounds and then take it from there? How would you play it out if you were in Chris's corner?
That's what I do. He's going to come in, smother him, hold him, tie him out, drop your weight on him, make him fight, make him burn that energy. That's how you've got to do it. Make him burn the energy. If you make him burn the energy, and then but don't think fitness is an issue for any of these fights, because both of them have ticked every single box when it comes to fitness for this fight. So it's a case of how can I burn your battery more than mine? So when Conor comes in, don't be trying to twist the time up, lean on him, drop his knee so he has to fight him off. The referee will be very busy for the first half of the fight. And then, if they've got the head right, if Chris has got his head right, then he'll stop off and start to use his range, and you'll start to use those whipping uppercuts.
Interesting. What do you still make of people? Simon Jordan came out and said, look, initially he said it was a bit of a circus of a fight, or a hype job of a fight. Do you still see that coming into this week, that people are still seeing it, that it's a fight that maybe should have not happened, obviously with the history occurring with Conor Benn and everything else?
No, both fighters are willing to do it, and the interest is there. Why not? This is a great fight in the UK. Probably not in Europe, probably not in the rest of the world. It's a great fight in the UK. Tottenham shows that. Tottenham will show that. And if both fighters can do it, and both fighters want it, why not? I don't understand what the issue is, because so regardless of what level it's at, we're not saying these two guys are the best fighters in the world. We're saying you've got two fighters that have created a narrative, that have created a story, that have created interest, where 65,000 people want to go and watch them fight. I understand what the problem is.
Actually, Chris Eubank Jr. did an interview, and it got released today with the Daily Mail, and in that he said, look, in boxing they allow you to come back even if you fail a drug test regardless. Obviously we know with Conor's past that it was a bit more harder to determine what had gone on, but even if you fail a drug test you can still come back. He goes, he was going to come back anyway, so why wouldn't I fight him? That does make sense, right?
So Chris fought him when it suited him. If Chris fought him whilst he was still banned, then that would affect Chris's career, because he would have got penalised by the British Boxing Board of Control. So as far as he's concerned, until he could legally fight as part of the Boxing Board of Control code of concern, it wasn't going to happen. Now it kind of like, well, why not? I don't understand what the issue is. If both fighters are willing to do it, if you're excited, if you have an opinion or not, it doesn't matter. People want to watch it. These fighters want to do it. It's not one fighter saying to the other, you're too big for me, it's not fair. You've got both fighters, and I believe both fighters want to fight each other.
Another question he got asked was that if he was at the helm of the sport and he got to deal with drug cheats, what would you do with them? And he said, I would ban them for life, but the problem is you'd get more than 50% of fighters gone from the sport. Is it really that bad? Is it that much that that it's getting swept under the rug?
That side of the fence these days, and if it is, it is. In answer to that, I know what I'd have said, because regardless of what's happened with Conor, he's the only name that's getting called out. And Conor, no disrespect to Conor, I don't think he's a drug expert to say I should take this and go on this program and then. What they should do to stamp this out, and I'll keep saying it, when you have somebody in the team in a fight like this, whoever's the team, register the team, you're part of the team, and then what you say is, if he fails a drug test and he gets a ban, your ban is as long as his ban. And then the people in the team will think, shit man, they'll not turn a blind eye to shit like that. They'll think, all right then. I bet all of a sudden there'll be a lot less drug cheats. There'll be a lot less.
Interesting. What are the fight you're looking forward to on the card before I let you go?
Yes, sir.
Pat Barrett. He's a bad man. He's a gangster. What are the fight? Actually, let's talk about that fight. Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yarde. How do you see this one playing out? Anthony Yarde came back on that Boxer show a couple of months ago. Seemed to dust off the cobwebs. What do you make of this fight?
I love the enthusiasm and the energy of Anthony Yarde. Lyndon Arthur has been that forgotten fighter where people just forget about mentioning his name. Lyndon Arthur's a good fighter, but so is Anthony Yarde. So it's a case about this. These guys have been in the ring together a couple of times already. So a case of who's got what. Now they know about each other. I know what you can do. I know what you're good at. I know what you're bad at. It's a case of who's deteriorated enough for the other one to take top job.
The thing is with Anthony Yarde, he's actually getting linked to Callum Smith fight. He's getting linked to these fights. So there is a carrot dangling for him where he wins this fight, and there's potentially some huge opponents. Ben Vida's name's actually been mentioned as well. So
Callum Smith and Anthony and Alvin, it won't happen. That won't happen. Trust me. Callum Smith has proved he's still a dangerous cookie. He's still a dangerous fighter to be. There's enough domestic fights that's still around for these boys to get in the mix, for them to go and get slaughtered against Callum Smith. So it's like Chris. Chris is talking about fighting Callum next. Once you start using the name in the same sentence, you associate them with them. Cut that foolishness now. That won't happen. None of them are going to box Callum Smith. It just won't happen.
Final one, actually, talking about Lyndon Arthur, he was one of the fighters that got paid by Chris Eubank Jr. When he spent that 50k plus on compensated fights. What do you make of that gesture from Chris Eubank Jr.? Was it a gesture and also had a bit more to it, just to maybe get into the heads of Eddie Hearn and the other side?
I spoke about it heavily a lot, and in reality, people have said, well, if it was a sincere gesture, why has he told everybody what he's done? He's told everybody what he's done, so everybody else does it as well, to shame everybody else into it. That's why he's told everybody. And he's done it to basically say, well, if I can do it and I'm a fighter, if you guys are promoters and managers, why aren't you doing it? You know, because I'm in a position to do it. Why aren't you doing it? And it was, to me, it was frustrating because people just brushed over it. And when I've said to you guys to ask promoters why they're not doing it, even to this day, you're still not getting an answer. They'll go off on some stupid rant about something else instead of actually saying why they're not doing that. And I'm not saying promoters should put their hands in their pocket and make themselves skin, but if they find themselves in a position like Chris say, you know what, I'm getting paid well for this fight, so you know what, boys, all you boys that lost out on money, here's a little something. What stops anybody else? Because if he's getting paid well, the promoters are getting paid well. And this doesn't just apply to Eddie. It applies to Ben Shalom. It applies to Frank Warren. It applies to Sam Jones. It applies to all of them. To say, you know what, you're all more. Now this has come to light. When shows are cancelled, all those promoters are going to be thinking, shit, that's gonna get thrown on me. And so now they've got to think about it. And I'm glad that's the case. I used to be a fighter, so I always like things to lean in their favour of fighters. So good.
Cool. Johnny Nelson, always a pleasure to talk to you, mate. See you for next few days. Press conference tomorrow. Let's hope there's no more eggs. Maybe there might be a different type of eggs tomorrow.
The week's not over yet. The week's not over.
You're ready. All right, Johnny Nelson, top man. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.